Hello, friends. It's I, host Eric, host of Talking to Fence People, and guy who's live streaming. The world deprives you of importance. And me too, everybody. Deprives us all of importance. And here's how. You think about it like back in the day, say 120 years ago or so. Let's say before telegraphs even, okay? Like 1800. There is no way to engage. There's no way at all to engage on the metaphysical external ecosystem without first making it happen with the physical, external physical ecosystem. In other words, if it's the olden days and I'm traveling from, let's say, like New York to Los Angeles or something, it is, as soon as I'm out of the vicinity of the city, I'm no longer connected to the larger metaphysical ecosystem at all. The only way that I can connect to it is by, say, journaling, understanding that over time that will come to represent an object in the metaphysical ecosystem, writing things down, or by reading. How odd it must be to know that when you leave someplace, you're truly gone. There's no calling them up. There's no video conference. There's no checking back in. In a world with lots of shadow-filled places that there's no way for people to observe, all kinds of crazy shit happens, because what ultimately constrains people more than anything else is the light of day, visibility. The reason North Korea is so awful is because there's no transparency. But the thing is, you've got such a complicated situation in life right now for us as human beings. For all of human history, we had available to us the option of explorer, adventurer. I will go someplace that's uncivilized, that nobody has taken control of the land, and I will, make my way. I will either homestead some wilderness and start living there, or, become a brigand, or various life of adventure kind of things that a person could choose to do. In the olden days, if you mess up your life in some way, commit some crime or mess it up in some other way, you can disappear and emerge someplace else and genuinely start an entire new life and put it all behind you. I don't want to do that, obviously, but I'm just saying these are the sort of possibilities that were within the frame of reference for people. You could always choose to disappear in the world if things got really shitty or whatever. What does that mean? Well, it means you just start walking off into the wilderness and go unexplored places. The other thing is, without an external metaphysical ecosystem, it's incredibly difficult for people to get a clear sense of their own comparative strength. Like, it's not difficult for me to get a clear sense of my own comparative strength argumentationally, because I don't have to even leave my house. I don't even have to want to argue with anybody to argue with people. I could be in a totally non-arguing mood, and I'll still find myself getting dragged into some sort of debate. But the thing is, and I will say that I've been pleasantly surprised by the reality of things, which is I actually do compare quite favorably in terms of ability to articulate and think meaningfully through various philosophical issues or whatever. But the problem is, like, let's say I want to be let's say that I want to be a successful musician. I want to believe myself to be good at making music or art or whatever. Well, in the olden days, I could either become a composer or a musician. And if I hustled and was at least decent, I could probably get on some sort of gig someplace and yada, yada, right? But one thing I didn't have to face was being able to access at a moment's notice anything that I might consider to be competition for what I'm doing and find all the single best instances of it. Because the thing is, it's like, it's hard to fool yourself. Let's say, like, for me, I make music. I want to make something really good, right? But the standard I'm setting for myself is, okay, the very best things that I ever have heard in my life, they're so good that they're still on my playlist or whatever, songs that are epic and timeless and, moments of absolute genius, that qualifies as good enough now for me. It's like the more access to the total amount of data I have, the more demoralizing it is in terms of just how hard it is to stand out against competition. Winston's mom asked, "Did something happen today with the debate tutoring session that caused you to be reflective?" Debate went great. I'm not actually reflective. I am ideationally active right now, though, which means Rachel and I went to Quartz Hill, and in the car, I was thinking about a lot of things, and I'll tell you one thing that I've been thinking has been getting into my thoughts in some fashion a lot is that movie we watched, Before Sunrise, because it's like it kind of makes you realize, or it's revelatory about how in reality often things come down to one choice, one direction or another direction. And if you make choice A, your life goes like this. If you make choice B, your life comes out totally different, Yeah, Morridge is joking, James. Kings of Leon is average at best is the most generous sentence I've ever heard anybody state about them. I would say that Kings of Leon, James, the correct sentence is, lol, Kings of Leon is a cancer upon humanity at best. Okay. I hate Kings of Leon.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan either.
So let's see what here it says. I disagree with you getting into arguments, Eric. I don't think I've seen you arguing at the drop of a hat. Yeah, I don't argue at the drop of a hat. I usually start objecting to some sort of wrong thing that somebody says. And then whether that turns into an argument or whether it just turns into me ranting, like you said, but you know who loves that stuff? Not all chicks love that stuff. It's just SFJ chicks and maybe STJ chicks. Probably SFJ though. Because why is an SFJ more prone to listening to Kings of Leon than other people? Well, first of all, it's NI either polar or eighth. You have to not value NI at all, basically, like Kings of Leon, because you're deciding to eat the pretty cake that's made out of poo, and you don't even know what a pretty cake looks like. So it's like, basically, I watched Kimberly listen to Kings of Leon. She thought that she bought into that pretentious, dramatic singer's vibe, and it was. I mean, I can't help it. I sort of lost a little bit of respect for her, I guess. Like, can't you tell how awful this is?
It really is. But SFJs don't really have like I wouldn't say they have the best taste in music.
Or like this for my hair. I mean, SFJs can like fine things and then like not such good things or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, my second wife. This will say it all basically. Her favorite band was No Doubt.
Stop it!
I mean, it's not like.
Hard for me not to like.
I will say this. I'm not saying No Doubt is anywhere close to as bad as Kings of Leon.
Yeah,
They're not. But
there is some legitimacy to that.
What they are is they're like a workmanlike imitation of good music.
No Doubt?
No Doubt, yeah.
Totally.
They're a fairly effective workmanlike imitation of something that would be good if any of them had any intuition.
Exactly.
Kings of Leon is like, what would be good if intuition didn't exist and all the intelligent people have been killed?
Fucking, they're really bad. They are. So.
and
He's so like, he married a Victoria's Secret model too. The lead singer of Kings of Leon.
Well, you'll note how Kings of Leon and Dave Matthews Band both are extremely terrible, but in very different ways. So it's like Kings of Leon
I love this so
is basically a fourth slot NI worldview and understanding of things that is self-defeating, of course, because there's a certain amount of success telling them that they're good. They got fourth slot NI. They can't evaluate themselves at all. And, but we're getting laid more. And it's like, now all of a sudden this person's unfortunately been burdened with this title of artist or something. And of course, he's going to try to own it and be it. And all he's going to do is cause more cancer with his awfulness.
Exactly.
Don't encourage them. Everyone's sex would be on fire if that happened. Well, good point, Maureen. Good point.
Did she rock out to that?
She thought that song. She's like, yeah. Oh. Fucking. I just like. Are you? You have headphones in or something? You're listening to something different. You must be, right?
I love those dancing moves. It's so as a say. Can you do another rendition for the cheap seats?
She was just really into pretentious shit too. It's like pretentious shit, tonally pretentious, not ideationally pretentious. Worked on her,
Not ideationally.
Oh yeah. He's got such an evocative voice.
No.
Our sex is on fire. We need to bring shaming back. I'm bringing shaming back. You motherfuckers don't know how to act. I am bringing shaming back.
Yeah, you just did on like 2 live streams ago.
Yeah, my live stream. If you support masks or wicked or whatever, yeah, that was one where I was really bringing the lumber. I was watching that earlier and enjoying it. I was on point.
Yeah. Even Running Fox got the groundedness.
Right, I grounded Running Fox, and everyone's like, she didn't even do anything. Too fucking bad. You're grounded.
Yep.
Anybody who thinks anything possibly redeeming about masks gets my arbitrary bullshit grounding, just like they wanted to do to everybody.
I feel like the ISFJ that I knew, he used to have like the fucking worst taste in music. He used to like Caribbean, like
Calypso?
yeah.
Ooh, listen to this exotic calypso song. I love those steel drums.
Don't stop. Give it to me. Shaggy was a big one.
Are you under the impression that you're listening to reggae?
Right?
I think you think this is reggae, right? And that's why you think it's like cool or something. Bro, this isn't reggae. Those aren't there's not Sinsamia. No, you got the wrong culture.
It popped up on my because like sometimes I take like recommendations from friends and I'll put it on my playlist, and like one of the songs came up on my playlist. I was like, this is garbage. I know this is not my song. It
Garbage
was like,
indeed.
Give it to me, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. I'm like, ew, this thing is shit. Like, can't listen to this anymore.
Yeah,
Hey,
but in response to Winston's mom earlier question about debate practice went extremely well. I got really lucky because it turns out this topic is the exact same topic, exact wording. The only difference is the previous wording of the topic in 2013 was in a democracy, voting not to be compulsory. The current topic is voting not to be compulsory in a democracy. So it's basically the same exact topic. It also just so happens that first topic of 2013 was like the pinnacle of my juggernaut kudos team. I had assistant coaches. I had massive class full of students. We prepped the living hell out of that topic. I've got already, I didn't even go through all the cases yet, but I already got 7 default cases from students from before that we can just start using right away. I've got the foundation briefs on the topic. I've got the victory briefs on the topic. I've got folder trees that say cases, cards, ATs, blah, blah, blah. It's all organized and everything. That's how I used to do things. When I had a big program and you have to be on top of shit, you're on top of shit. And you also have a lot of little workers to work for you. You get the kids to do stuff.
Hey, Hambo, what's good? How you been? Implant the mask, eat the chip, wear the bugs. That's what Kings of Leon is like.
I like that idea, Hambone, of instead of what is it? Marry, fuck, kill, or date, fuck, kill?
Yeah, marry, fuck, kill.
I like implant, eat, wear.
Implant, eat, wear.
Mask, chips, bugs. What you're gonna implant, what you're gonna wear, and what you're gonna eat.
Cool.
Well, Hambone said to implant the mask, eat the chips, and wear the bugs.
I think that's a good choice. I would have gone with that too. Gold star.
I'm gonna go with eat the mask, so I don't have to wear it anymore. Implant the bugs, so I can spy on myself audio-wise. I'm assuming they're audio bugs, right? Can I implant the bugs in other people? How about that? Or would that be explanting them?
Whoa. That was like a bell ringer that didn't mean to be one.
You got if after you cough, you see a little pew, pew, pew in front of your eyes, that means you got a very small concussion.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, it happens to me periodically too. But for a long time I didn't know that was a real thing. Because when I was a kid, I saw cartoons and people get punched in the face in the cartoon and there'd be stars going around their head, right? I just thought that was, I didn't know what that was. That was like a symbol for whatever. It wasn't until my 20s or something that happened to me for the first time. And I was like, oh, that's real. That's a real thing. Yeah, it is a real thing. If it's never happened to you, you can get stars around you like that. It's really more like shooting little shooting stars. It is a real thing. No, you can get it from lots of things besides getting punched.
You can get it
from sneezing really hard. From sneezing really hard, you can get it.
Yeah. From getting up from the chair too fast too.
Email Netflix, I got some good news for you guys, all of you guys. I was not keeping track of what punishments I assigned to whom yesterday, so I can't really bust your chops for not following through because I don't know what it was. You've seen stars. Where's my light bulb nose? It's true. It's not lack of oxygen or changing or poor pressure. It's a sudden dramatic event like a really big sneeze Or it happened just the other day when I coughed really hard. It very rarely does happen. Usually it happens if you like bang your face into something or something like that is the normal cause of it. Jerking your head really fast, something like that. But it is a real phenomenon, and that's why I guess it was in the cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
How are we two doing? Well, I know what I'm missing in life: trail mix.
Me too, actually.
I am missing Washington State style trail mix, which
Same.
doesn't waste its bag space with nuts and candies. No,
How
full
are
of
you
meat.
liking your new job? And cheese.
Well, I mean, I've read that. Actually, I'll Google it and we'll see. I actually think that's what I have read that before. Was it true? I could have just sort of swallowed it whole without questioning it. That's possible, but I did read it before.
Kidding. I didn't properly.
What does it mean when you see stars? There are also tiny, very thin fire. Okay. Let me see this.
Kitty pageant winner. Hi. Hi, Peach Nose. Morale. I love you too.
Okay, cartoons. A blow to the head. Cartoons have portrayed this phenomenon for years. Someone gets hit in the head, they see stars. The brain is protected by a layer of fluid that usually prevents it from hitting the inside of the skull. A hard knock such from a sports collision or a car accident, however, may result in the brain bouncing against the skull. The back of the brain contains the occipital lobe, which is a part of the brain that processes visual information. If the area is knocked, it sends out electrical signals that the brain thinks are light. Getting hit in the eye can also cause flashes. That's an eyeball one. The one I'm talking about is this first one, the knock one. It doesn't say in this article anything about it being a concussion. So I think you might be right about that. But why do they see stars in cartoons? All right, so
Love that shoes.
They don't say anything about a concussion.
Kitty love. Oh, Kitty freshness pants.
Thanks, where's my light bulb? I appreciate not only the $5, but also all 10 star eyes.
Me too. Thank you very much.
Do you think Horseman Board 1 would be a 4, host Eric and Rachel? And who would Hambone be? Hambone.
Hambone says he's a 9. And
Horse Mumbler is...
I think a 5.
Yeah, I think he's more 5 than 4. But I bet he's 5'4". But he could be possibly be 4 or 5.
Yeah, true. I don't know. You met him. Oh, Kitty pageant winner.
So I was almost going to title this live stream "The End of War" because I've been thinking about how I've thought this for a long time, but I've been, I guess, rethinking about it a little bit. That the way that nuclear bombs have changed the nature of humanity so much in terms of how we interact with each other. And the reason for that is if war takes a certain amount of time, it takes weeks, months, years, then you can assume that you'll have an opportunity to adjust to things if they're going wrong or whatever.
I didn't want to speak for you, Hambone. Sorry, I didn't mean to answer. Sorry, I just wanted to slide that one in there.
No, it does, Email Anthrax, because look, prior to the advent of nuclear weapons, you could have a warrior culture, which means a culture that's devoted towards militarism and that highly values things like honor, courage, bravery, loyalty to your cause, things like that. And builds myths around the power and importance of these warriors and so forth. And it says the reason we as a warrior culture are so successful is because we are true warriors with the, we're good warriors. So, the reason we keep conquering is because we're a better army or something like that. Nuclear weapons end all of that entirely. You can't have a warrior culture with nuclear weapons because who's going to go through a whole bunch of sort of stoic life training with a sword and hand-to-hand combat and militarism and stuff when you know that all of your military adeptness is useless and meaningless? That it's just a matter of who drops a nuclear bomb first. There's no need for sort of an organization devoted to warcraft when there is no war. It's just nuclear bomb, right? Now, granted, the world is such that for things not adequately established and entrenched to be backed by a nuclear bomb, then those places are still safe to fight wars. But nevertheless, a culture like Japan's military warrior culture or Germany's military warrior culture in World War II will never arise again in a world of nuclear weapons. It can't. It doesn't make any sense to anymore. It's like part of the thing about being a military person is you are fighting away from your people in order to either gain resources for them or defend them or otherwise protect their interests. There are no fronts when there's nuclear war. There's no front. There's no battlefield. So there's no sacrifice for anybody. If you die in a nuclear bomb, your efforts in the war, there weren't any efforts. During that battle for Hiroshima, there weren't any Japanese heroes. Nobody jumped off the boat onto the shore, sword in hand, and started slashing the American marauders. There's no heroism left, right? There's no individual experience of war anymore. And so it's impossible to fool yourself with your SI and your FI. This war is a good idea. My experience and my feelings tell me it's a good idea. Have you heard the theory that nuclear bombs are a hoax, that it was actually a firebomb, not nuclear? I haven't heard that theory. That's ridiculous. Nuclear bombs are not a hoax. I mean, no, I have not experienced a nuclear bomb. I mean, look, I'm pretty confident that while I'd be a little shaken up, I could survive a nuclear blast if I had my arms up, okay, to block it, I'm pretty sure I could. Right now, wars are blackmail over dick pics.
That's real talk. Hi, Michael.
Hi. Yeah, it's me. I know it was really ill-advised of me to send you that dick pic, but could we just sort of keep that quiet?
Yeah, really. Come on now. Okay.
It would be nice if you can say hi to my friend Michael Nikolic. Hi, Michael Nikolic. How are you? I am so excited to greet you. I've been waiting for somebody to ask me to greet Michael Nikolic for a long time now, and finally it's happened.
I'll get you some food.
Michael Nikolic sits next to me, and I just want to make him happy. Daromina 227. Daromina 227 and Michael Nikolic. Do you think either of you would be able to do what I can do to survive a nuclear blast at 10 feet away simply by blocking the force of it with your arms? I can do that. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm confident I can. A nickel liquor. Are there nickel liquors around here? I thought I prohibited nickel licking. It causes COVID. We really need to work an anti-nuke technology because the people that would fire them first would probably win. People who win wouldn't be the good guy. I don't think anybody's going to fire them first. The thing about a nuclear weapon is it renders the former economy of militarism moot. No, I'm not Superman. I am not Superman. How is it that I'm able to survive a nuclear blast at 10 feet by blocking the force of it with my arms? Good question. Practice, practice, practice. If you don't practice strengthening your arms every day a little bit, you will lack sufficient power in your arms to deflect the nuclear blast. Power dabs cause nuclear blasts. They don't prevent them. Huh. There's a coin shortage. Oh no. No, I don't use shake weight, although that's a good way to get started on nuclear blast arms, but that's not going to get you all the way there. Okay.
It's going to get you all the way there.
Well, you need to, first of all, don't ever put on sunscreen. That's just conditioning your skin to be weak. So that's number one thing. And then, I'll practice all the time. What you do is you go in your backyard and you visualize a nuclear bomb, and until you really feel it coming, and then deflect away. Sometimes I'm not able to. I'm not fast enough. And in those instances, I'm blowing off my feet backwards. That's how powerful my imagination is.
Wow. Can I trademark that?
Sure. You trademark anything, baby. Chapstick is conditioning your lips to be weak as well.
Hey.
Well, that's why I say, Rennie Fox, you need to do the thing that I've been advocating for a long time. This is going to help increase all of our immune systems. From now on, I want every public bathroom to feature a community chapstick hanging on a string that anybody can pick up and use if their lips are chapped.
No.
This way, any stragglers who haven't got COVID yet, we'll be able to get it quicker, and then we'll deal with that. Yes. Community chapstick.
I love that idea.
Look, Rennie Fox, this is about keeping people alive. The best way to preserve life is to make sure that everybody's immune system is robust. If there's one thing that COVID has taught us is that people with weak immune systems die. The best way to make sure everyone's immune system are robust is to have everybody use the community chapstick. And if you don't agree with me, you're killing people. Look, we'll put a sign up. Please only use chapstick on your face lips. That'll constrain people. If you get good enough at blocking nuclear blasts, you'll be able to eventually keep your eyes open. That's okay. Look, first of all, I'm gonna admit even when I'm practicing blocking nuclear blasts, I put on my darkest sunglasses. Okay, so I'm not gonna go in completely without protective gear. I will be wearing a pair of dark sunglasses when I actually do I'm a daredevil, you see. My daredevil stunt is to stand 10 feet away from a nuclear blast and block it with my arms. So anyway, a couple of precautions I'm going to be taking. I'm going to be wearing very dark sunglasses. I'm also going to be donning one of the old school half-head motorcycle helmets, like a 70s motorcycle helmet. I figure in case I get blown off my feet, which I might, it's possible, then if I hit the back of my head, it'll protect it.
Only the back of your head?
Yeah. What about Fallout? Fallout? What's that? I'm assuming that one of the advantages of standing next to a nuclear blast is that because it's so explosive, it'll blast all the radiation away. That makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. How could radiation be so powerful? Is the radiation blocking the nuclear blast with its arms? No, it doesn't have arms. Only I have arms. I used to practice with real nuclear bombs, but I also used to have 3 arms. So, tells you what, it shows you what can happen if you're not careful. While blocking nuclear blasts with your arms from 10 feet away, it's important to stay hydrated. Good point, Hambone. Very good point. It is important to stay hydrated. I also want to say I'm not going to puss out. Okay, I'm not going to use an atom bomb. That's too. I will be using a hydrogen bomb, and it will be at least 10 kilotons. But I admit I'm not going to go much bigger than 10. I don't want to. Back in the 60s, I think it was, the Soviet Union tested the largest nuclear bomb ever. I believe it was 70 to 80 kilotons. They blew it up in Siberia, and it broke windows in like Finland.
Wow.
And so,
talk about that.
And so, after that, they decided not to make bombs even bigger than that. They said, okay, well, that's big enough, It was so big, this bomb, that it was 50-50 whether the bomber that dropped it from like 30,000 feet or whatever, and was going full speed, would be able to get far enough away from it when it exploded to survive it. But he did. Barely.
Wow.
That's how big the nuclear bomb was. So what I'm saying is maybe eventually I'll get to where I can block that with my arms, but I'm not going to go over 10 kilotons for the first public performance of this.
Thank you for protecting your safety.
Sure. Somebody asked, where will I wear and when? Okay, let me tell you. It is October 17th in Des Moines, Iowa, at the county fairgrounds. Here's the thing. I had to find a county fairgrounds that they were going to demolish. And I asked if I could just demolish it with my nuclear bomb. Well, actually, I didn't tell them it was nuclear. Actually, I told them I was a demolition company. I was going to go do a professional job. They'll find out after the fact that I did a more professional job than they thought, because a lot more than just that fairgrounds is going to be gone. But not me. I'll be standing there proud, my teeth gleaming in the sunshine, listening to the roaring cheers of people watching from many miles away.
That sounds pleasant.
Hope you got extra bread. You think I need to bring some extra bread to this? I have heard that one thing you should do if a nuclear bomb goes off near you is to cover yourself in bread, because nuclear bombs are gluten-free.
Oh.
And they won't get anywhere near gluten. But I don't want to cheat like that. I'm not used. You're probably thinking you're going to tape bread on your arms, aren't you, Eric? No, I'm not. I'm going to do it just with my arms.
That's all he needs.
That's all I need. In this house, pretty sure if he glues arms onto his house title, will be fine. Don't glue arms onto your house. That's cheating. The pilot? Oh. I'm gonna look it up and read you a little bit about it if I find something interesting. Biggest nuke of all time. Tsar Bomba, it was called. Tsar Bomba. For the enormous Tsar Bomba detonated with a force of 3,800 Hiroshimas.
3,800?
The bomb that wiped out the city of Hiroshima times 3,800 is how explosive the Tsar Bomba was. The RDS-220 hydrogen bomb, known as Tsar Bomba, is the biggest and most powerful thermonuclear bomb ever made. It was exploded by the Soviet Union on the 30th of October, 1961, over Novaya Zemlya Island in the Russian Arctic Sea. The hydrogen bomb was airdropped by a Tu-95 bomber with using huge fall retardation parachute. The detonation occurred 4 kilometers above the ground, producing a yield of, it is mega is bigger. I thought it was kilo is bigger. Megatons is bigger. Okay. Producing a yield of 50 megatons. Now, I've read that that's a very conservative estimate. I've read estimates as high as high 70s, 80 megatons. But some of these things. Oh, I see. It says here, Tsar Bomba contained 3 stages, unlike normal thermonuclear weapons that explode in just 2 stages. While the addition of the 3rd stage increased the explosive power of the thermonuclear bomb, the bomb's actual yield of 100 megatons was reduced by 50% to limit radioactive dust in the test. 100 megatons. The United States, the biggest bomb that we've built is 25 megatons. It was also a 3-stage one. So, the other reason why they didn't go with the full 100 megaton test is they included that the aircraft, there's no way the aircraft delivering the bomb could have enough time to escape the explosion. To limit the amount of fallout, the 3rd stage and possibly the 2nd stage had a lead tamper instead of uranium-238 fusion tamper, which greatly amplifies the fusion reaction by fissioning uranium atoms with fast neutrons from the fusion reaction. This eliminated fast fission by the fusion stage neutrons so that approximately 97% of the total yield resulted from thermonuclear fusion alone. As such, it was one of the cleanest nuclear bombs ever created, generating a very low amount of fallout relative to its yield. There was a strong incentive for this modification since most of the fallout from the test of the bomb would likely have descended on populated Soviet territory. Interesting. And then it was flown to a test site by Major Andrei Dernovtsev. The Tu-95 bombers were designed to carry much lighter and smaller weapons, meaning the Tsar Bomba was too big to be placed on a missile and too heavy for the planes to transport it to the target with enough fuel. Taking off from the Olenia airfield, the release plane was accompanied by a Tu-16 observer plane that took air samples and filmed the test. Both aircraft were painted with special reflective paint to minimize heat damage. Despite this effort, Dernovtsev and his crew were only given a 50% chance of surviving the test. The bomb, weighing 27 metric tons, was so large that the Tu-95B had to have its bomb bay doors and fuselage fuel tanks removed. And the original November 1961 estimate was at 55 to 60 megatons. And Khrushchev warned of the existence of a 100 megaton bomb in a speech to the Supreme Soviet of the Supreme Soviet. Although simplistic fireball calculations predicted the fireball would hit the ground, the bomb's own shockwave bounced back and prevented this. The 8-kilometer wide, 5-mile wide fireball reached nearly as high as the altitude of the release plane and was visible at almost 1,000 kilometers, 620 miles away from where it ascended. All the buildings in the village of Severny, 34 miles from ground zero, were destroyed. In districts hundreds of kilometers from ground zero, wooden houses were destroyed. One participant in the test saw a bright flash through dark goggles and felt the effects of a thermal pulse at a distance of 170 miles. The heat from the explosion could have caused third-degree burns 62 miles away from ground zero. That's a pretty big test. Immediately after the test, lots of people made a fuss in the world. And the Tsar bomb is the single most physically powered device ever deployed on Earth. The largest nuclear device ever tested by the U.S. yielded 15 megatons, and that was because of an unexpectedly high involvement of lithium-7. That was the Castle Bravo test, which was 10 megatons bigger than they expected.
Oh my god.
How that's a fuck up. You know, I mean, that's a big fuck up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to test this nuclear bomb on this island over here. Okay, well, how far away do we need to be and stuff? Okay, well, it's going to be 6 megatons. Oh, well, we should be this far away. And let's have an error for safety. Let's just pretend it's as high as even 8 or 9, but we know it's 6. Okay, we'll go back up a little further. 15 megatons. It's more than twice as big as they predicted. Talk about a catastrophic failure of everything. It's like, but we were like children. The world was like children. That was before the above ground nuclear test ban. Can you imagine this world where Russia says, we want to test this 100 megaton bomb above ground. You want to blow up 100 megaton nuclear bomb above ground, above your own territory as a test. What are you testing?
Oh my god.
I mean, like, you pass, okay? You pass the test. You're crazy.
That's definitely crazy. That. They fucked it up too, didn't they?
I mean, the point is, you got all these scientists and everything, and they're doing all this very high quality, high level work. I mean, like, it requires you to know a lot about stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the powers that be probably didn't even have any sort of contingency for what happens if the scientists are dramatically wrong about the bomb yield. I'm sure that nobody even considered that as a contingency to plan for,
Right.
So there must have been a lot of people who were way too close to that explosion. I bet a lot of people died in that. I don't know that. I don't know exactly what happened, but I mean, what if you're Bill, the guy who forgot to carry the 2?
I don't even know.
Bill? Yeah. Did you sign off on this? Yeah. Did you double check it? No. These are nuclear bombs we're dealing with, right? Hi, Mike Matthews. What's up, Steve? Where's Blues? Is this like a Steve from Blues Clues shirt? It just kind of looks like it, I guess.
Yeah. It is. Definitely a Steve from Blue's Clues shirt.
Ruffle, I have a positive image when I visit myself. What if Bill was INFP? Look, I told you I had a lot of stuff on my mind. Bill, it was 15 megatons. So, you said it was 6. Did I? Did I say that? Like I said, I had a lot on my mind. Yeah, we have been close to. I mean, there have been a number of close calls of miscalc. It's called in debate. It's called miscalc. There's an argument block that says basically we should minimize the amount of nuclear weapons because of the risk of miscalculation. Somebody. Okay, David Sanderson. I am quite confident I didn't say precisely that I am vegan. I am not vegan because of health reasons. I would agree that health benefits stem for me from not being vegan. I'm not vegan because I don't want to be. I've never tried to be vegan. It's like I like meat. I'm not vegan because that's it, really. There is, however, the fact that if I don't eat enough meat, like for whatever reason I get vegetarian stuff for a couple times, which sometimes I do, I'll get super hungry. I'll be starved to death, It's like my metabolism is so high. My personality type is that which operates in a way that uses a lot of energy.
It does.
I'm using so much energy all the time. But the point is, my body is both conditioned to through experience and genetically in need of a lot of fat and protein and bread and lots of heavy food, even with heavy food and gluttonously eating all the fast food I can see, if I were to do that, I still wouldn't gain any weight. So the thing is, I'm chronically eating too little, is the truth. I'm chronically eating too few calories. And the reason is not because I don't eat a lot of food or enough food. It's because I have to eat so much food to really fuel my body sufficiently. You're soy intolerant? I won't tolerate soy. I'm sorry. I don't want your sauce. I don't want your edamames. I don't want your tofu. I don't want anything soy. I like soy sauce a lot. Soy sauce is very good. No, it's the same thing whether I'm on Adderall or not. It is true that I'm better about eating when I'm not on Adderall somewhat, but it's basically the same pattern. It's like I don't eat until I'm super hungry and then we eat something,
Mm-hmm.
I'm 6'4". Is that your elevator pitch, Randy Fox? Okay. Die Hard? It's like Die Hard, but with soy sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So Chinese people in the movie? That's racist. No. I mean, it's like the guy in Die Hard, but his obsession is soy sauce. I still don't understand. How is that like Die Hard? Look, it's just like Die Hard, except the main guy is really into soy sauce. And one time, he's at this department store, and he sees there's a big sale on soy sauce. You follow me? And he takes it home, and he's like obsessing over it. He's putting it, oh my God, I got so much soy sauce. What am I going to do with it all? And so his wife comes home, and he's like, honey, can you make a big thing of rice, please? Wait, hold on. How is this like Die Hard? I like the idea of doing an elevator pitch. Saying, it's like the Sorcerer's Stone, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, crossed with Star Wars. So, scene. It's 1742, and the period people are all coming out of their costumes. You give them some sort of cue as to what it's going to be like, and then you describe it nothing like that at all. What will happen? What will happen if you eat enough vegan food to fulfill your caloric needs? I will have had to work too hard about eating. I will have had to think unnecessarily much about eating, and I will have wasted time going further away to get food than where I feel like. I will have, unfortunately, not gone to McDonald's. That would have been a big mistake on my part. 9 million terrorists in the world, and I got to kill one with smaller feet than my sister. Is that a line from Die Hard? That's a good line. I mean, the thing is, it's basically like this. You've got energy, and it gets into your food, right? It's it's energy in your food. Now, like other forms of energy, how much energy is compacted into how much food depends on the kind of fuel you're talking about. So if I have a piece of wood that, say, fills a 1 gallon container, it has a certain amount of energy into it. And when I burn it, that energy is released. If I have the same amount of 91 octane gasoline, the amount of energy in that is much greater than the amount of energy in the wood. And it's fine to use wood to run your, say, heating system in the house, because the physics of the matter are such that just the heat generated is sufficient to solve your problem. However, now let's talk about coal. I could have a steam engine, and coal would be sufficient for a steam engine because there's enough energy packed into those things that when you burn it, it releases fast enough to create enough steam to move the thing sufficiently well for that kind of thing. But I'm a kind of car that requires 91 octane. Now I can, I'm a kind of car that weirdly, I either can use a tank of 91 octane, or if I use 87, I gotta fill up 2 tanks. Okay. It doesn't make any sense for me to choose a less effective way to fuel myself. A less efficient way, a less natural way, there'd have to be a compelling reason to choose that inefficient way over my more effective way. The most compacted energy is contained in meat, because the animal's already eaten the less energetic stuff like grasses and stuff and converted them into meat for you. What off topic? What type is Joe Rogan? I think he's an ESTP, but I'm not entirely sure. I haven't watched a lot of his show, but he seems very much he's got a lot of FE compassion and really not any FI compassion, and he's fairly logical but gullible to weak NI stuff, and doesn't seem especially intuitive. So I'm going to go ESTP. ENFJ is a possibility as well, Broccoli Todd, except I don't find his intuition to be consistent with that of an ENFJ. I guess he's well, he could be. That's not impossible. Same quadra. He's definitely an extrovert, and I'd say extrovert and beta quadra, and he's not an ENTJ. His FE. I mean, he's not a his FE's good. So let's see.
He does like drugs though.
Joe Rogan? ENFJs do drugs.
True.
A lot of them do a lot of drugs.
I always think of him more of like alcohol, like going towards like
booze and coke, you know, ENFJ party.
Yeah. That's another reason why ISTP and ENFJ go well together. They both like
Who goes?
alcohol.
ESPN and ENFJ?
Yeah.
It's easy to respond or reply when there's nothing of any meaning. I am great at chatting with someone, but if I want to really say something, I need time to consider my thoughts. I was considering my thoughts about that movie, and I was realizing that I was very much annoyed or felt sad about or bothered by the fact that in the second movie, which I didn't see, but at the end of the first movie, they say, we're going to meet back here in 6 months. So in the second movie, he actually goes back there and she's not there. And that makes me so sad to think of. But it doesn't really make me sad anymore. Now it makes me feel like, oh, that's weird that I would worry about that thing because, who cares? Oh, Winston's mom. I meant cocaine. The devil's dandruff.
I like that.
Winston's mom was actually Frank James's recommendation of Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
They ended up getting us to read it because I had recommended it to Rachel or talked about it before, and then Frank James talked about it at some point, and she had already heard about it from me, So it was sort of like, well, if he says so too, then maybe we should read it,
Yeah.
I agree, Lawnmower. This is why FI stuff needs to be avoided. That movie, it kind of like the more distance I get from it, the more I think like, God, how difficult life must be for FI people.
Yeah.
There is so much, the kind of stuff they're processing, the kind of data they're processing, and the kind of complexity that they're engaging in for me, it takes forever to process. Like I can think of multiple spots in that movie where there's a scene where not much is said, but a lot of stuff is said with subtle facial expressions and stuff, and just knowing the circumstance, like the movie takes good advantage of everything you learn along the way and uses what you know from before as you're moving forward in really powerful, effective ways. But there's so many times I wanted to stop it, pause, and like walk around and process that set of data that was just, because that's the thing about this whole FI approach is what they do somehow is like, if I want to convey that much information, like the kind of information that I care about, I have to say a lot of words. There's no way to convey the kind of information I care about without saying a lot of words. If I don't say a lot of words, I could still say a lot of meaning with a few words. That's true. But, and it's certainly plausible to imagine me saying something enigmatic in a way that is ambiguous and makes the other person think a lot. But it's crazy is the fact that for FI people, they're sort of fluent in that language. And when that scene happens and there's these very complicated feelings in the characters, like, of pride, embarrassment, competitiveness, sullenness, but hopefulness, and it's just such a and you can't work with it at all. You can't process it into a conclusion, really. It's just, I don't know what you're supposed to take away from it. But
it really is just meant to, you're supposed to feel like you're in their shoes. Definitely.
I did. I guess that's the thing is,
that's the takeaway.
Okay, yeah, I guess, and that's the problem is like, okay, now I'm in their shoes, so how do we solve this problem? Or, wow, both those characters must really want to get away from each other right now. That's another thing I thought. Not because they don't like each other, but because there's too much FI data flinging around. But interesting, regardless. I think it's very interesting.
Good.
I want to make a video. We're gonna go to the weed store here before too long, but I want to make a video. Probably not tonight. Maybe start part of it tonight. Like start some of the work tonight, but it's gonna be maybe tomorrow. Called like I don't know what it's called, but it's basically the idea is talking about the vices or the shortcomings, the failures associated with too much or not enough of a function. This goes along with the idea that the only people who don't experience harms from a function are second and seventh. Like neither ENFJ, ENTJ, ESFJ, or ESTJ will ever really experience harms from SI. ENFJ and ENTJ won't experience harms from SI because they can't pay attention enough to SI to even experience the harms, really. And the ESTJ and ESFJ won't experience harms from SI because it's their tool function. It's instrumental. They use it really well. But ISFJs and ISTJs will suffer harms from too much SI, and fourth slot will suffer harms from too little SI. And so it's basically 1 is too much, 4 is too little, 2 is just right, 7 doesn't matter. Anyway, an example of the sort of vice that I'm talking about is, you might say that, for example, SI DOMs, one of the ways to put the vice is they aim low. Aim low and you're less likely to miss. Low ambition, you know. One of the vices of any vice might be described as doesn't know when to leave well enough alone. A FE vice is basically like keeping up with the Joneses or going along to get along. A TI vice is basically it's basically like I guess it's over deliberate. It's hesitant. You know, you hesitate, you die is the short tag for INTP or for INTP at least. You know, the thing is with ISTP, it plays out somewhat differently. So I guess it's more. I have to think about TI one. TE, it's like oh, I remember what it was. This is the problem with TE. When you finally finish teaching your horse to not need to eat any food, and it dies on you. Like, okay, and here's an example of fourth slot NI. Selling your car for gas money. That's fourth slot NI, right? It's totally missing the point. Another fourth slot NI thing would be like, I can't believe I got arrested for drunk driving last night. I guess I didn't manifest good time hard enough. I was manifesting all night that I was going to have a really good evening. And I got arrested for drunk driving. Next time I'm going to have to manifest harder. That's like fourth slot NI. Fourth slot FI. Fourth slot FI is hard to. I mean, I guess the bottom line is, you have like this, like, this vacation be a great opportunity for me to continue working on that credential by going to a symposium. You know, it's like, that's not a vacation. It's just you doing work again. TI advice is not distinguishing between consequential errors and inconsequential ones. No, actually, Hambone, that's your counter value NI. That's your you can, but you don't want to have to do that thing. TE, now look, TE is the joke I'm making there with the horse is this. The problem with a TE approach, especially if it's sort of taken by a non-intuitive TE person, is that they know their starting spot, they know the destination, they know how to get there. Starting spot is, my horse is eating too much. It's costing me a lot of money. Destination is, hey, I know. I could probably train this horse to not need to eat any food. If I just gradually, taught him, that's a good solution. And then, you get to the end of the solution, you've successfully trained the horse to not eat any food, and it dies of starvation. Why? Because in the process of solving the problem in front of you, you didn't look at all at things that weren't relevant to that problem. Like whether the horse is alive or not. In some sense, it's a similar idea to sell your car for gas money. That actually is more NI because you're obviously, the problem is really getting gas in the car. It's not getting gas. So that would be the TE thing would you just picture the TE person going, oh, he was just getting so good at it. He was getting so good at not eating. I don't know where I went wrong. Like how drug use works? What's like how drug use works? I mean, drug use, by and large, isn't a solvency-based thing. It's an experiential thing. It's like, you could think of any type as either bringing the experiential to the experiential frame, bringing the representational to the experiential frame, bringing the representational to the representational frame, or bringing the experiential to the representational frame. If I didn't say that one already. Which is to say, you're either metaphysical, metaphysical, physical, or physical, metaphysical in your first two functions. So, or physical, physical. So, essentially, you could say like, the INTP brings metaphysical action to the metaphysical deliberation frame. INTP brings metaphysical deliberation to the metaphysical action frame. INTJ brings physical interface to the metaphysical knowledge frame, etc. And it's, I think, kind of worthwhile to think of it in those terms because, like, and part of what I was thinking about this is, how do you explain the following? And no offense to any INTJs out there at all. How do you explain the following? that INFJs, who are NIDOMs, are the most correct about music, most likely to be correct of any type about music or art in general. They're the least likely to be incorrect about any given piece of music or art. But INTJs, also NIDOMs, are probably the most likely to be incorrect and the least likely to be correct about music and art. And the reason is because, yes, they have that universal knowledge frame, but they're bringing physical interface to it. So it's going to always, they're going to say, what does TE do? It deals with dynamic physical systems. So when I have a problem with somebody using TE about public policy, it's because they're treating a dynamic metaphysical system called society as a dynamic physical system, pretending as though you can basically mess with one part and have it affect the other parts in predictable ways, which you can in a dynamic physical system, like a door or, some other mechanism, way to get through something, do something, whatever, or some tool or something like that. In those circumstances, your TE is great because you're dealing with a dynamic physical system, which allows you to, and the reason why TE people are so effective at solving stuff is TE is a manner of attention that excludes considerations other than the problem at hand and the system of the problem at hand. It excludes other considerations. You're not going to be very good at figuring out how to build this boat if you're devoting energy to a lot of ancillary matters, like, well, here's the lumber, and here's the lumber. Well, where'd you get the lumber? That's not part of the issue here. You're building me a boat, remember? That's not helping you. Well, why are you getting this boat? That's not matter, unless it is relevant. What is this boat for? I need to know specifically this as to how to make it or something. That's fine. But what they're not doing, the INTJ, is thinking about whether it's really a good idea to add more boats into our state's freshwater ecosystem, because I'm very worried about the animals. That'd be like kind of an FI concern. They're more likely to have that concern than some other kinds of concerns. But there's lots of other concerns that if it doesn't link to their personal, what matters to them, it's not going to cross their mind. The concerns of this interested party over here that doesn't cross the INTJ's mind is never going to get there by way of principalism, because they have a particular tool function. So what happens is, to understand music and art and stuff correctly, you have to remove from it the experience of making it or listening to it. Like, for example, I did not enjoy the experience of watching that movie, but fortunately, my experiential knowledge is fourth slot. So my NE said, wow, this is rich NI material here to NE with. My TI said, wow, this is really carefully done and crafted. My FE said, wow, they're using lots of, this is crazy subtextual craziness. And my SI said, I don't like this movie very much. I'm not enjoying watching it or something. Maybe not that, not any of those things. My SI said, because why? Because I was having a shit ton of FI data shoved into my face, and it was excellent, but I can't process that comfortably very quickly. I need a lot of time to process it. So that's why somebody like an ENTP is able to be more correct about music, or an INFJ able to be more correct about music, potentially ENFJ as well, because they don't prioritize their experience. They prioritize the meanings and stuff. It's true, however, also that by and large, my experience correlates with actually bad stuff. If I don't like something, usually it is actually bad, and that's why I don't like it. But I recognize fundamentally that my experience of something is not a good teacher regarding the status of something. The status of something is more important to me than my experience of it as well. So it's more important that I be correct about judging something than that my judgment be consistent with my experience. In fact, that's not important to me at all. My judgment needs to be consistent with validation metrics that I have established for various things according to in other words, it needs to be holistically true. Okay, we have to go to the weed store to get weed, and then when we come back, probably I'm gonna go to bed, I guess, or being pretty sleepy. Tired. Yeah, I'm tired. But I think we should go to the weed store before. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna well, this is the thing, Mike Matthews, feelings and stuff. I feel bad for people who have, let's say, strong medium range FI inclinations. Like, I know I'm never gonna cheat or stray or be infatuated with some new person or whatever, because I just don't feel that strongly. I don't have that much strong feelings. Think about being an INFP probably, or ISFP. It probably takes a lot of self-discipline to not cheat, especially if you're a hot chick, because they must feel what they want and would like to be true and like to be okay and stuff. They must feel it so strongly, and they must be comfortable with all that data too. It's like, it doesn't make them squirm like they got red ants all in their pants, Anyway, goodbye, sweetheart. It's time to go. Good night. I'll be Zane. And God bless you because you sneezed.
Yeah.
It's okay to say it if somebody sneezes. Otherwise, people think you're religious. And, people don't like religious. If I say God bless you, I'm going to get a lot of eye rolls unless you didn't sneeze. Unless you sneezed. Then it's okay. Which type would be easiest for her to be loyal? In the right relationship, ENFP, INFJ. Most metaphysical types are going to be most loyal because they prioritize the status of the things over their actual experiences in the moment.